all the fairings off. The windshield's off, both upper fairings, both lower fairings are off. I'm going to give a quick, brief Cliff's Notes version of what's inside the fairing. So, like I did the video on the cruise control cable adjustment, and a couple of the guys were like, well, that's neat on how to adjust it, but where is the stupid servo? So anyway, we're going to start over here on what would be the right side of the bike. And this is your lower vent duct. Those come right off. They just kind of plug on to the vent itself. Right above where that would go, those are the hoses for your air shocks. Plug that back on. Radio amplifier is inside the right hand fairing. If you're sitting on the bike, right hand is on your right, obviously. The cruise control servo, that's where you would do the cable adjustment. Your upper vent duct, and you can kind of pull those out and you can see the vent right there. These are a rubbery plastic. They usually stay pretty pliable. They do kind of shrink up and deform just a little bit over time, but they for getting them on and off the bike, they are pretty soft and spongy. Inside, or the fairing above the headlight, you've got a relay bank. There's 3 relays and a single. I don't remember exactly which one. I know the book says this is the cruise relay, but actually it is this one by the wiring color. One of them is the accessory relay, one of them is the main relay, and one is the brake light relay, if I recall. This plastic sheathing is just a splash shield, keeps water that might run down inside the fairing. Underneath it is the radio. If you hear guys talking about radio that won't maintain the radio stations or the clock, usually zip tied to the back side of the radio are 2 fuse holders with a glass style fuse. One's like a 1 amp, the other's like a 3 amp, and they're usually right back up here. They're a little difficult to get to. If you take the headlight out, you can kind of get to them. I have big hands, I can't get in there to do that, so I end up taking half the bike apart to get to it. On the other side, inside the left hand fairing, you would have, if you have a CB, you'd have the main brain unit that's bolted to the pocket, a control head with the dials and the display on it, reserve lighting device, and self-cancel turn signal unit. There's 2, one of each. They're stacked in here. The gold colored box is the brain unit for the cruise control function. That's what takes the information from the speed sensor and the cluster and all that other jazz and sends that to the cruise control servo to move your speed up and down. On the front side of that control unit, it's mounted in with 3 studs, and they make really awesome mounting spots. The other one can't see back in there, for adding relays for horns and lights and stuff like that if you go aftermarket. Speedo cable where it attaches to the cluster, a whole bunch of wires for the audio system, and so on and so on. And that's about it. You can see where I've used NIC's compound on all the holes to help with rust and galling and stuff like that, on because I run stainless screws into the that part of the bike, so I use the NICs to keep that from galling up. Mounting clips for the speakers and the the cowling that goes around the cluster. Cluster itself is tucked way back up in there. I'll cover a removal on that in another video. But that's the meat of it. You can see the mount right here where those 4 screws that go on the nose of the bike to hold the headlight trim ring and the nose for the upper fairings.